Welcome to Contemporary Black Voices, where we take on the most pressing issues affecting Black America. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell. My co-hosts today are community activist and entrepreneur, Chris Dawkins, and New York Times bestseller and doctoral extraordinaire, Caleb Alexander. And we have a special welcome back, Fred Williams, screenwriter and our show's founder. Under former President Barack Obama, Black Americans exhibited pride and hope that a Black man serving as this country's leader would be able to address our concerns outwardly and systematically. Sadly, a sentiment arose in the Black community that many hopes and dreams were never addressed. We are now in a presidential election year in which Vice President Kamala Harris, a woman stating she is Black, Jamaican, with Asian descent, a member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and a graduate of Howard University and HBCU, is running for President of the United States. Is Vice President Harris, if she becomes president, in a better position to address the concerns of the Black community, or will there be another dream deferred? Before we start our conversation, I want to invite you to hit the subscribe and like button in the YouTube link, and also engage with us with your comments. So, who wants to hit the question first? Will she be able to address the concerns, or will it be another dream deferred?
Can you define our concerns that are different from anyone else's concerns?
I think the biggest concern right now is passing the George Floyd Act.
Is that just our concern, or does that affect the whole country?
No, because it's our concern.
It affects the whole country.
Yeah, it affects the whole country, but ours in particular make the lynching bills, more prominent, and also reparations.
I see what's happening as I'm watching both these candidates talk about what they're going to do. It's like the Congress has forgotten. It's like, wow, these folks are going to do all this without going through Congress? I don't know how they're going to do that. I think that, I know a discussion today is on Kamala, but I think we need to start paying a little more attention to the Congress, who's going to control the Senate and the House of Representatives. Because even when she's talking about how she's going to cut back on give tax cuts, she will give tax cuts. She can't give a tax cut. That starts in the House of Representatives. And who controls the House is going to make that decision. So,
Fred, you are just a little bit too astute of about politics. You know that. And the other people who are astute in politics know that. But when she says, I'm going to do this, that, and the other, it's pie in the sky. She's talking to a whole group of people who don't even really understand what politics and how it really works.
Okay, then when Sharon put at the end, is it going to be a dream deferred? Yes.
It depends.
It's probably going to be a dream deferred.
It depends on the Congress, like you said.
That's my point.
Right.
It depends on
but you start looking at, she has some policies that she wants to push in mind. I think we got to give her credit for even speaking those words.
But she should make it clear. She sets herself up.
But the issue is here is, as Chris says, so the president has an ideal in mind. And yes, it's going to have to go to Congress. And we already know that right now it's going to be critical that Congress is flipped to it's blue, because we've got some hard heads in Congress who are going to try to block every possible move.
Let me say this from the beginning. I think that this election is a lot different. And when people begin to talk about what can Kamala do for the Black community, this is not necessarily, to me, an issue at this particular point in time. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, each vote does matter. But when you talk about one vote, And that one vote has to be voted kind of like in a block to be able to advance or ask for whatever it is that you want. When you're voting as an individual and you're saying I'm black or whatever, that doesn't carry any weight. But when we all say we want the George Floyd Act approved, and we all vote in a block to be able to do that. But the point I really want to make is that in this election, you are voting for the future of America. You're not really voting for all of those other things, in my opinion, that other people are talking about.
When you say the future of America, what do you, if Trump's elected, America's going to disappear?
As we know it, yes.
Oh, come.
Well, I think what he's saying is that I know that when I go in there to vote, yeah, I've got some issues that I would like to see resolved, but I'm also looking at giving my son and his offspring an America to where he can thrive as well.
And see, Fred, I'm thinking that you don't really believe in Project 2025.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
Because I know it's going to be an impossibility in this country to implement.
And that's what they believe. That's what they want you to believe, and they want most folks to believe, because if they from day one try to suspend the Constitution or do whatever they're going to do, they're hoping that they can do those things. Now, these people are very, very smart who put this all together.
Some of us are very, very smart.
Okay.
And we understand the history of this country. We understand what a president would have to, let's say Trump wants to suspend the Congress. You know the first thing they're going to do? They're going to impeach him. And you get the Republicans voting to impeach him because he's taken away their power. And he would be now, let's say they impeach him and they convict him. Now, he's not going to leave. The Congress is going to have to send in, I don't know if it will be the Capitol Hill police or the military. Now, what he'd have to do, Trump would have to have control of all the generals, all the colonels, all the police departments, everything would have to be behind him. And I think that is a task that cannot be done in this country.
We're way off subject, but I would ask you this. How did
Get off something?
We can get off subject.
how did January 6th happen, okay, under what you're saying that shouldn't be able to happen?
What happened with January 6th? The police got in there and got those people out. They were surprised because they didn't.
After how long?
About 6 hours, but they got them out, is my point. They got them out. The police departments, the National Guard were not going to allow those people, to take over the Congress.
But there was nobody from Congress who stepped up.
Yeah, they did.
Who?
Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, they all stepped
All
up.
the Democrats, yeah, but the majority in both houses at that particular time were Republicans. And you didn't have one Republican in the House. You didn't have one.
No, they weren't. They weren't. In 2020?
Yeah.
The House was still
The Senate.
Democrat.
The Senate was still Democrat.
Yeah, it was still Democrat. But my point is that in order to do that in this country, you have to have the generals
Right.
behind you, or you can't do it. Now, if he can get all the generals behind him, he could try to do that. And I don't. Even this last general, when I think he had him go out. Remember,
Milley?
And he said that he wished he would have never
Right.
went out there with
Wasn't that
him.
Milley?
I think that was General Milley
Yeah.
that said it. But I mean, he's going to. He's not going to have the support of the military. I think people overestimate that. The military understands what happens in a Trump presidency. They understand the global consequences. They understand Ukraine, and they understand Trump's relationship with Russia and Trump not wanting to fund Ukraine. And if we lose at Ukraine, you're looking at a wider conflict in Europe. They also understand Taiwan. China is licking its chops, waiting, begging, hoping for a Trump presidency because they have a date. Yeah, they have a date.
So let me ask both of you and Fred then. Basically what you're saying is that Trump is no threat to America.
No, what I'm saying is that I don't think he's going to have the support of the the
do what
armed
he-
services.
do
Right.
it.
So this- I mean,
not Trump, but that 2025 is no threat
Right.
to America.
So based on what I'm saying, that this election is about the future of America, the both of you basically poo-poo that.
Well, from that standpoint, I do.
we doing the next segment, or we're gonna come back for the next segment, or
Yeah, I agree. Let's put a pause on this
Okay, all
and
right.
come back to continue this discussion in our next segment.